Hey guys, Tim K here, founder of the Veterans Project and the Caregiver Project, as well as your host for the Veterans Project podcast. I wanted to do something a little different. I don't think we express thanks enough to our listeners, followers, reviewers of the podcast. We've gotten a few great reviews over the past month or so, but I was going to go back and read some of the older ones that we never read on air because I wanted to say thanks to those listeners. I hope you're still out there, and I hope you're still listening to the podcast. It makes all the difference in the world. You help build the bridge by sharing these stories. Otherwise, we become a giant echo chamber, and that's not what we want to be. We want to be expanding, growing, and pushing these legacies out to people around the world. So, without further ado, we have Corey Marietta. He says, the most legit and humbling podcast I've ever listened to. This is a must for vets and civilians alike. It bridges the gap and can help reacclimate vets back to civilian life. I don't have the words or vocabulary to describe how essential this is. He says it with an exclamation point. That's nice, Corey. I like that. Please listen and spread the word. Let's make them number one. Wow, number one. Man, that would mean a lot, buddy. Hey, we appreciate that, Corey. That was really an impressive review. That was a legit and humbling review. So I appreciate you. And then we've got another one here. And I like this one. It was short, but it was very succinct and well put. And that's something I enjoy. Anani03 said, been following the project and was mesmerized by the emotion and soul in the photos Tim K took. Hey, that's me. That's crazy. Thank you, Anani. So I was excited to find out there is a podcast. The first brought tears to my eyes, so I'm listening to them all now. Thanks, Tim. Thank you, Anani, and I hope I'm saying your name right. But that is amazing, truly beautiful. Again, guys, without you out there reviewing, rating, subscribing, and pushing this out to friends, family, we don't grow. And if we don't grow, like I said, we become the echo chamber. We don't want that. We want continual growth out into civilian society, caregiver society, veteran society, these communities, so that we can express ourselves more openly to more folks, and we can make people aware that we are not just individual cyborgs that come back to the States or wherever your home country is and go into a closet and plug in until the next war. We are indeed individuals and human beings who are living our lives very differently, and this next guest is further proof of that. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Marine Devil Dog, the first to fight, hard-charging, dragon-slaying, elite killer to fashion designer? It may not be the typical transition for a veteran, but then again, there is absolutely nothing typical about the veteran community. The beauty of the individual American servicemen's or women's diverse backgrounds is something we've spoken of quite often on this podcast and in the projects. Trinidad Garcia's path from a successful career in the Marine Corps to a connoisseur of all things denim was anything but conventional. But that's probably part of the lure of his brand. Non-conventional, extreme attention down to every single stitch, and sourced as truly all-American denim. I've been in the shop when he's working on his stuff. It's absolutely incredible. When you're in the building, you see him putting every single detail into every little stitch. It's such a special process to watch. And it's something that'll draw your eye and absolutely blow you away. That's truly the Marine Corps way. Some of you out there, the idea of being fashionable might be stepping up to a button-down from Target as opposed to visiting your usual stomping grounds of Walmart, and that's fine. But I at least want to introduce you to the idea of denim as an art form. I also want to introduce you to what it means to take those time-tested Marine Corps concepts of honor, courage, and commitment and applying them to every single part of your life. Yes, even to the world of style. I'll admit that I was fascinated with the subject of this project, as I myself am a big fan of fashion as an art form. From 2-7 Marine to founder of Trinidad3 Jeans, here he is, the one and only Trinidad Garcia.
The Veterans Project is a comprehensive essay capturing the legacies of our warfighters, caregivers, and civilians who have stepped forward in defense of our patriotic principles in an effort to capture their stories and to never forget the staggering sacrifices of our nation's finest. This is the Veterans Project Podcast, where our legacies are the mission. Here's your host, Tim K.
Welcome to the Veterans Project podcast. My name is Tim Kay. I'll be your host as always. Here on the podcast, we've got Trinidad Garcia the third.
Yay.
Hence Trinidad Garcia 3. Hence Trinidad3 Jeans. There we go. So Trinidad was a U.S. Marine. We got chided on the former thing yesterday.
Once a Marine,
Somebody
always a
yelled at
Marine.
us. Yeah, once a Marine, always a Marine. Yeah. But, you know, we've got Trinidad here, and he is an artist, a purveyor of all things denim. And not only that, just an incredible designer, period. We kind of, obviously on this podcast, you know, we want to take you back through the life and speak on things about, you know, what guided you into the Marine Corps, what guided your path in what you do now in this beautiful world of fashion design out here in Los Angeles. What guided your path, Trinidad, and why did you? Let's start with the Marine Corps.
I'm the artist formerly known as Sergeant Garcia, so we can touch on.
I like that.
On the former.
That's
part
beautiful.
Of it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've heard it a couple times
from fellow Marines.
Oh yeah, you know
they never tease you.
No, they never tease me.
Yeah.
They don't let me get away with anything.
I'm sure. Yeah, sounds a lot like what I went through.
Yep.
So, talk a little bit about your path and what brought you to where you are now.
Well, it's quite interesting journey to say the least. I call it machine guns, the sewing machines. In a nutshell, I was a machine gunner in the Marine Corps. Used a GI Bill, went to fashion school, and became a designer.
Cool. So what was it like being a kid? What was it like being home in the Garcia household? Can you remember, I want to go way back. What you as a child, what do you remember first about really, first of all, wanting to be a United States Marine? And did that not shape early on? Was that something that came on later?
It shaped early on. My grandfather was a CB in the Navy, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. My dad's a Vietnam vet in the Air Force. And so that was my background. And growing up here, I was born in Port Hueneme, California. Growing up in Port Hueneme and Oxnard, right next to the CB base, it was instilled, it was in front of me. And what did it in the Marine Corps was my dad brought home a VHS movie of Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, that'll do it.
And that's when I first learned about the Marine Corps and somewhat what it was about.
Yeah.
And it just stayed ingrained in my head as a kid.
Actually, I'll take that back because that could totally turn you the other way, too.
It can.
You could see that movie and be like, oh, absolutely not. There is no way in hell I am doing that job.
Well, I think that was the intention of my dad.
Right, to scare you?
To scare me.
Yeah. And it didn't work.
No, it didn't work at all with any Marine. That's a pretty iconic movie.
Right.
I think it's pretty safe to say. So, and I was a kid when I saw that, but growing up, I was an athlete. I was always really obsessed with jeans, even as a kid. I was just always wearing jeans. And growing up in grade school, some of my favorite times was back to school shopping. I'd have to get really creative. We had limited resources. So my mom would tell me, hey, you have so much to spend. You can get one jean or 2-3 shirts, or you can do 2 jeans, 1 shirt. And I had to get really creative so that kids wouldn't make fun of me for not having, a lot of clothes and didn't want to be seen as a poor kid.
Yeah.
They're at school. So I masked.
Isn't that such a weird thing though when you think about it? Like people making fun of people for like their parents not having money.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you?
I mean,
you were a terrible savage.
They were ruthless. And now thinking back, I mean, everyone there was, in the fairly same economic situation. You had those privileged kids, of course.
Right.
They had the new Jordans and they had all the nice gear, but it was quite interesting that now they were the ones making fun of me.
Yeah.
If you had Payless shoes and this and that, which some people it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But to me, it did, because that was my passion early on. Like, I really was into clothes.
Right.
I was a kid. My mom had, suits that I would like wearing as a little kid. Like, and that's not normal.
Yeah. No, I mean, but it's what's led your path to where you're at now as an elite designer. And I don't say that lightly because, one of those things that Nate brought up to me when he brought you up, he's like, man, you got to check this guy out. He's so cool, bro. And I was like, okay, first of all, calm down. But, Nate, like when he gets hyped up on something, he'll get into it.
He gets really bromantic.
Yes, he gets super bromantic.
Yeah.
And I was like, who's this dude that's stepping in on my territory? But then when he brought you up, in all seriousness, I was like, okay, if I told you, if Nate mentions someone, then I want to know, who it is. When you mentioned, man, there's this guy, he's a Marine, and, he's an incredible designer. You need to check out his stuff. And I kind of in my head did the whole, thing like, oh, he's a Marine and he's a designer. Okay, we'll see. I am picky about my clothes. So I was like, yeah, we'll see how good this is. And I love the Diesel jeans. I love, 7 for Mankind. But I'm very picky. There are really only a couple brands I really like. So when I was looking at, everybody listen to this podcast, they totally ostracized them. Like, we're never listening to this podcast again. Tim is a snob.
Tim's wearing designer clothes. No. Veterans wear designer clothes?
No, that can't happen. But, when he mentioned that, I looked and I just saw the artistry, man. The attention to detail right away impacted me. And I'm like, man, that is that Rockstar brand. Like, I had this feeling of, wow, like just smacked me in the face, to be honest. And so when I started looking, I was like, cool. This guy is a guy like I want to cover. He's pretty cool. I love clothes. Makes sense. And then I started looking, and then yesterday we're in the factory and I'm looking at the attention to detail and just the stitching and the inside of the jeans and the innate feel you have for the art and for putting something incredible together that someone is proud to wear. But we're not talking just wear, right? This is a legacy piece in a way. These are jeans that are going to last you for a very long time because of the way that you put attention to detail. And that all goes back to the Marine Corps, a profound attention to detail, right?
Absolutely. It really links back to all the details. Things really need to make sense as well. So I incorporate utility in it. And when I was a student at fashion school, I was one of the only designers to ask the factory owner, like, how do you make things better? Like, what makes a jean a good jean? Right. And at our factory, we were working on, because I was interning with him, with the factory owner, Fear of God. We were doing jeans for Tom Ford, 424, just to name a few. So these
Tom Ford's no big deal.
No. Just
I guess he's all right.
Just another American designer.
Yeah, exactly.
He used to work for Gucci.
Yeah. Who Jay-Z raps about in his songs.
Yeah. No biggie.
Yeah.
I saw like some really expensive jeans. And as a student, and again, when things need to make sense to us. And I think most veterans can connect or agree with me on that. We don't just want to do things if it doesn't make sense. We always say, oh, that's stupid. I'm not doing that.
Right.
And so when I was looking at, even on my jeans, a coin pocket, I was like, who the heck carries coins now? So that was the first thing that I said, boom, that's going out. We carry cell phones, so I incorporated a cell phone pocket. Yeah. So utility was a big part of it, fit, form, function. Yeah. We've heard that. And so I just really honed in on that to perfect what would be the best jean. And a lot of times it's really what's on the inside. And there's a gentleman who founded Junkyard Jeans. He's a vintage collector. And he had said that I am one of the few brands that's making future vintage.
That's beautiful.
And we're using American denim.
Wow.
Now, if you think about, jeans, it's truly rooted here in the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an American iconic piece.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go back though, since we were working chronologically. Sure. We were kind of talking about your growth. So you're a kid, you're there, you want to maximize what you get out of every outfit, right? Yep. So what was that like? Do you think that had a massive impact on your creativity now in what you're doing now?
Well, it really forced me to go think outside the box, especially with clothing and putting, in essence, looks together. And it started with me just wanting to show that I was, a stylish kid, a cool kid that had a large wardrobe, because in school it's what you're wearing. It's your shoes, it's what you have on, because obviously you're not driving.
Right.
So you can't show off your car.
Yeah.
Or I walked to school, so
probably have bad parents.
Yeah. Yeah, I would walk to school, so I couldn't show off my bike, and it wasn't really one to show off anyways.
Right.
It really forced me at a young age to look into that segment of my life. And then, it just started to carry over into 7th grade, 8th grade. I was voted best dressed in 7th, 8th grade. And
that's a big title then.
It was huge, man. I was like the big man on campus.
To some of our veteran brothers listening, they may not understand, but I totally get it. I'm like, yeah, totally. Yeah. I can see why that would be important.
And then into high school, I was getting into trouble, so they sent me to another high school. And what I would do was I'd just call up my buddy from the other high school, and we would swap like clothes midweek. So I'd plan out and I'd put together looks for both of us. So we were both on a limited budget, but we were at different high schools. So we were able to, look fashionable in 2 different settings. And I didn't have to, spend a lot of money on clothing.
Yeah.
And I was in the fashion section of the yearbook, was voted trendiest as well in high school.
Uh-huh.
So it was always like underlying. But before that, I was in 7th grade. Electives were coming, and I took sewing. And I remember my dad showing up, and he pulled me out. He showed up with a dean, and he was like, "What the hell are you doing?" So they pulled me out.
Sounds like something my dad would have done. Like, what?
So I got, Vietnam vet showing up, like, "What the hell are you doing in sewing class?" So I was like, "I'm sewing a guitar, Dad." Like, I picked something manly, I wasn't there sewing a My Little Pony, plush toy.
Yeah.
And then after that, I had said I wanted to make him, an M16.
Yeah.
But he pulled me out a little too soon. And then it happened 3 more times in high school. Yeah, I was in high school, and he showed up again with the dean, because you get a chance to pick your electives. It's like, all right, here it is. Some grown-up stuff. And so I picked sewing, and bam, he pulled me out again.
Wow.
So
again.
But this time, the last time I was in school taking sewing, I was in fashion school and using my GI Bill, and he was in Miami, so he couldn't pull me out.
And you'd served in the Marine Corps, so I'm guessing he was questioning your decisions a little less at that moment.
Oh, yeah. By then, I was on... I guess it's safe to say now I was on active duty, on I&I duty there in LA. So,
wow. That's wild.
It was wild.
So I don't want to say you gave up on your dream, but for a while there was space and time where it was like not the practical thing to do, right? Did you get married, have kids? Like, what was the path? What was the thing that made you not get into it right away?
Well, I've been very blessed. My wife, Sonia, we've been together since high school.
Awesome.
So she's been very supportive from day one on all my crazy adventures. But I was chasing the dream early on. I was after high school, went to college, and I almost joined at that point, my freshman year in college, scored really high on the ASVAB. At that point, I was in between the Navy and Marines. And I took the test first with the Navy. That recruiter told me, just stay in college. You scored really high, stay in college. As soon as you graduate, he was like, come back, you're officer material.
The recruiter told you to stay in college?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Those are progressive recruiters.
Yeah.
My recruiter was like, please, I've got to hit numbers.
He probably saw what I was wearing and was like, you're a little too fashionable.
Or maybe you'll fit the Navy perfectly.
That's right.
Why does it look like a YMCA video?
Didn't help. I showed up, with my buddy who was Native American, and
there was a cop there.
Oh, yeah.
And a fireman.
Exactly.
Just randomly showed up. We love to tease the Navy. We have to.
Yeah. It wouldn't be normal.
No, it wouldn't. Army and Marine.
Yeah.
Got
exactly.
That's one thing we join in on.
Yeah. So I stayed focused on that path, and I started designing and selling soccer uniforms.
Okay.
here locally. So I was bringing those things in. And then that evolved into designing like my own hoodies and sweatshirts and kind of touching the streetwear side. I taught myself how to screen print.
Oh,
So I was
cool.
a screen
Wow.
printer from early on.
Dude, that's a lot, man.
Yeah, till my mom was, on my case because of the smell from the ink I was doing in the garage.
Oh, I
So
can see
she's
how
like,
that can
"You
be
need to-
troublesome. Yeah.
You need to do this somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then I was fortunate enough to meet one of the players from the LA Galaxy, and from there I partnered up with another American icon, Paul Caligiuri. He scored the goal that qualified the U.S. back into the World Cup in 1989
Okay.
for the 1990 World Cup, ironically against Trinidad.
Ah.
Bingo. So then we partnered up, and I started designing uniforms for him. And we had a little company. We were outfitting clubs, so the creative side was going.
So you'd already been doing it, and see, that's
yeah.
where I didn't quite understand. You had been creating and designing before you chose the
before I
path of
chose-
denim.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've been doing it since I was about 19.
Wow.
Yep. And that's when I first ventured off to do some creative work. And I mean, when I was in high school, Career Day, Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising LA was there, and I went and I talked to them. My dad again was like, "No, you're not doing that." He was like, "You're not doing that. You're going to be a doctor, dentist, and so."
Yeah, all the practical jobs, right? That make a lot of money.
Yeah, all the ones that make a lot of money and make sense too.
Not the ones like ours where it has our family's heart bursting through their chest with anxiety.
It does. It makes
and
them
ours
cringe.
too.
Yeah, it makes them cringe until you make it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So what then led you to the Marine Corps? Because you joined the Marine Corps a little late, right?
I'd say a little late. Yeah, I was 31 years old,
And you're joining the grunt side.
and
Wow, you are crazy.
I legitimately, yes, I'm insane.
So,
But that's what makes us great, right?
yeah.
Oh, well, what happened? I always had it in me,
Mhm.
to do military service, and I just said, all right, I'm going to give this business a try first in college, and then, like the recruiter said, I could revisit and go in. So I went on that journey, and I made it all the way up to having a showroom in downtown LA.
Wow.
Like I had no idea what I was really doing.
Yeah.
I just knew I looked up, where the hub was. So imagine you want to play professional baseball and you show up at Dodger Stadium with your stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And amongst that, I was just lost.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know why the guy rented me a space.
Wow.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I sold it to him, I showed him my samples, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you'd be good. Here's a space on the 4th floor, menswear, blah blah blah." And then I was swimming along. Then I had rent and everything on top of that. So I wanted to raise money to continue doing that. My brother was working for a finance company in the trucking industry, so he financed me a truck, and I learned how to drive big rigs.
Wow.
And I started hauling strawberries.
Wow.
From Oxnard up to Seattle, Washington first for Whole Foods. And then I was hauling berries from here to Portland, Maine.
Wow.
Cross country.
Jeez.
And
To make the money to support your dream.
right.
Yeah.
Yep. Support my dream. Well, I wanted to make money, so I financed a couple more trucks. Was getting this trucking company going. And that's when diesel shot up to over $5 a gallon.
Oh my gosh.
And then there was a freeze in California.
Oh,
And so
wow.
produce, there was a shortage.
It's like the perfect ingredient to screw your career.
And then all my trucks broke down.
Oh my.
Like they were used trucks. So I had in between July and November, I had over 57,000 in repairs and maintenance.
Oh jeez.
And so it just took
That
me
makes my
down.
heart hurt.
The last leg was on Van Horn, Texas. I had the truck coming back, my last truck, and it broke down there. Turbo went out, and it was like checkmate.
Dude, that's so sad too, because like Van Horn is one of those like memorable towns for me, because that's like a place, I travel out here a lot. I drive a lot. And so Van Horn's one of those towns where it's like, yes, I'm on another journey, to get another story. So I'm sad that your dream kind of died there, but it was probably for the better now.
Right.
looking
Yeah.
back.
Now looking back, I I think I'm ready to go visit Van Horn again.
Yeah. But for a while, that was not a place.
For a while, no. I had T-shirts like, with Van Horn like crossed out and like death and all kinds
Anytime
of,
somebody mentions Van Horn, you just
like,
start
cringe.
vomiting
Yeah,
all of
I
a sudden.
cringe. Because at the time I had just bought a house. My daughter was a newborn.
Oh my gosh.
So I lost my house.
So much pressure.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure at that time. And ironically, while my brother was working for that finance company, I used to repo trucks. So I did that for about 6-7 months. And then ironically, my truck got repoed.
Did you have to repo your own truck? You just pull up, you're like, sorry, man, we got to take it. You're like, God, don't take it from me. Like you're talking
I made it easy for him. I left the door unlocked.
Okay.
Yeah, the keys in the ignition.
You're like, there's no fighting over this.
Yeah, I wasn't going to fight it. I'm like, all right, I know what it's like. So
that's incredible though, man.
Yeah,
Think
so
about
I just let it go. And then at that point, I wanted to restart my life, and then I blamed it on fashion.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm chasing this stupid dream, and I should have listened to my parents, my dad, like when he pulled me out of sewing the first time, which was going through my head. And at the time, I was in really great shape. The only problem was that I was 31 years old. And
which, for those of you that don't know, Marine Corps, that is ancient.
It's extremely ancient.
Yeah.
The age cutoff is you can turn 28 in boot camp,
right?
But it's 27. I was off the charts. But when I went back to the recruiting office, the Navy recruiter, same office, the chief I actually went to high school with.
Okay.
So he was also a friend of the family. And, I saw them, and then I saw the Marine Corps recruiter, and he just seemed locked on. I'm like, you know what? It just pulsed inside me since I was a kid. And I told him, I want to be a Marine.
Wow.
Yep. And he checked me out, and he was like, how old are you? He said, that could be a problem. But he didn't give up on me.
Wow.
Yeah. He snuck me in to take the ASVAB. There's an old lady over at Point Magoo.
Okay.
And she wasn't paying attention to the names, just how many people were showing up. So he called me up, and he said, hey, you got to take the ASVAB today. Like, I'm going to pick you up. So I just went, took the ASVAB, scored pretty high. And then from that, he was putting together the package to like try to get me in.
Right.
Because per a Navy order, the cutoff was 35 with a waiver. So he found a loophole. They just weren't, at the time, General Salinas here on the West Coast was not doing any age waivers. There was a problem. A 31-year-old had died in a pool during swim qual.
Okay.
So then they just stopped, messing with old folks.
Which seems so ridiculous now that I'm 32, but it's definitely a different thing between now and when I was 17 and I joined. It's like I'm a different person. It's like, but still, I like think about that. I'm like, that's kind of crazy because an athlete is really like coming into the prime of his career around 30, 32.
Right.
But like it's really not a young man's game because they want to see how long they can keep you in and soak you for all your good youth.
Well, I was like an old Mustang that just never got driven.
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell them.
Sure, you didn't have a lot of mileage. Right?
Yeah, it was just low mileage. Still good. I was I had to run a full PFT.
Yeah.
So there was some challenges, but the biggest one was getting in. So I at the time I stole my current wife's credit card, booked a one-way flight to Nashville, and signed up on the East Coast. My recruiter here on the West Coast went to recruiter school with them on the East Coast, and they're like, there's a chance we can get you in on the East Coast.
Wow.
So I just took off, one-way ticket. Bam, let's do this.
Wow.
Yeah,
You wanted that
slept on his
way
couch.
too bad.
Yeah. I know.
That would have kept me out.
The Army was like, what are you doing? My cousin was in the Army, Green Beret as well.
Yeah.
And he was just blowing up my phone. Like, what are you doing? Like, join the Army. They'll take you right now. You're in great shape. Plus, you'll get a lot of money. You're doing bonuses in 2008.
Oh, yeah.
And
I got a bonus. Nice one.
Yeah. I got an Eagle Globe and Anchor.
Oh my gosh, my Marines are gonna love that statement. I didn't need a bonus.
Yeah.
I got the EGA.
Now, at that time, I could have really used the bonus, considering I lost everything. And yeah.
What did your wife think about this, man? What was she thinking? Like, was she okay with it? And she was just like, oh, whatever, you know?
No, absolutely not. She was not okay with it.
Wow.
Maybe she was upset, and she, a little bit, and she was like, why are you doing this? There's other things you can do.
Yeah.
And then she said, okay, when she finally accepted it, she says, okay, so what are you going to do in the Marines? Are you going to be, admin? You went to college, so you're going to be admin, supply. You said you want to be a firefighter. Maybe you can do that in the Marines. And I told her, infantry. And she lost it. She lost it. Yeah.
Divorce papers start to come out
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah. She was just,
wow, man.
Speechless. My dad called me up and he was like, what are you doing?
The typical Air Force dad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Typical Air Force pops, from Vietnam. He's like, you have no idea what you're getting into. He said, I spent a couple years in Vietnam, 1965. And he's like, you have no idea what you're getting into. I told him, well, you can't pull me out this time, dude. I'm going. And I fought really hard. It took about 6 months to get me into the Marines. And even when I was there at MEPS in Nashville, the gunny had told me, like, hey, you know what? It was already like 16:30, end of the day. They're like, yeah, the age waivers didn't get signed yet. So, we gave it our shot. And then I said, all right. And he said, the Army and Navy will take you in a heartbeat, man. You're solid. Yeah. So I was walking over, went back to the Navy. Mm-hmm. The Army, they weren't in the office at that particular moment. So I just walked over to the Navy. Yeah. And as I'm talking to the Navy liaison, the gunny was like, hey, get your back in here. So the waiver got signed.
Wow.
And so that was a pretty pivotal moment. And then I'm like, oh, how am I going to get back home? Because I lived in California.
Yeah, and you had a one-way ticket there.
Yeah, it was a one-way ticket.
Jeez.
And I was ready to go to boot camp from there, but there wasn't for infantry. I don't know. They said it was still going to be a few weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
So you went home and you got a chance to hang out with the family for a little bit.
Yeah. Since I was already in, I knew that there was a reserve unit here. 223 weapons that I was interviewed for, and I know they were taken off to Iraq, so I wanted to get in on that. Yeah. But because I signed up on the East Coast, they wouldn't allow me to join a reserve unit out here because they'd have to fill the billet if I dropped out from Nashville, and it was a little challenging. And then for my age waiver, they had told me that they would only sign it if I went active duty.
Of course.
Yep. So
they want you pulled in all the way.
Oh, yeah. They're like, no, you're going all the way in.
So, and you were 2-7 Marines, right? So then you get signed up with 2-7, and 2-7's got a lot of history. Some of it good and some of it pretty troubled. As you know, I mean, the Afghanistan, massive study was done by the New York Times, I believe it was.
Yes.
On the suicide problem, and it was very prevalent in 2-7 to the point where more guys were dying due to suicide than actually dying in combat. So when you joined up with those guys, some of those guys had already gone through that, right? Like some of those issues. What was it like becoming a part of that unit, and what was the dynamic there when you got there?
The dynamic there was quite intense. I mean, the first thing I saw when I got my barracks was I saw, a 2-7 Marine that had got blown up, and, he's walking down the catway, the P-way with prosthetic, and just the whole tone of the time. I could tell, probably because I was older. Yeah. I could read the room, if you will, a lot better. And I knew that they had certainly gone through some rough times. Yeah. And then when I started training with them, I knew the dynamic of their camaraderie. It's just an incredible group of gentlemen that, I was just honored to be a part of.
Yeah.
A lot of them, because I was older, they opened up to me. Typically they don't do that to their boots.
Yeah.
And so just to be able to hear them out, be there, train under them, because they were tasked to train us to get ready to go back. And which that training was really challenging, and I could tell that, their patience, there wasn't any patience.
Yeah.
They're trained us really aggressively. And then on the flip side, to see when it was time for that generation to re-enlist, that very few re-enlisted.
Right.
Most of them, the ones that I knew of, I mean, you can count them on one hand.
Yeah.
Like they all, most of them just wanted to continue on with their lives outside the Marine Corps. And I knew that was, there was something there. And I felt really honored that I was able to hear them and, hear them out, to be there for them, to train with them, to sweat with them. And what's really tough was that these guys that I looked up to, that mentored me, that, turned me into the hard charging machine gunner, if you will, and Marine, they started taking their lives at a rate that was just, it was rough. It was really, really hard to see that.
Yeah. Do you develop a numbness in a way when it starts to become more prevalent? Because obviously you dealt with a lot of that. I'm sure when that first one, took his own life, it was kind of stunning. But then when you go down that track and it starts happening more and more, what's the feeling?
Initially, it's a huge blow, because I saw the fight that they had. I got to live with them and train with them and really get to know them on a different level. And it's a little different for me because I wasn't there with them on that deployment.
Right.
But the fact that I was able to be there with them after, I believe, was, for me, one of the most meaningful and purposeful moments of my Marine Corps career. And then as they were doing that, initially it was devastating to hear that we lost, another one, then another one. And these guys that I looked up to, just an amazing group of warriors. And it was a blow to all of us that were there with them.
Yeah.
And initially it just moves you. And at the time I was on active duty still. I did 8 years. You kind of look at it, you go numb, and you just keep moving.
Yeah.
And it was really, really tough to accept.
Yeah.
But it also made me reach out to those that, my seniors that were really close to me. One of them he's a member at MVP, Sergio Cuevas.
Mm-hmm.
I got really close to him early on. He was my corporal early, so, a corporal that was always yelling, just training us super hard, like he was.
I somehow imagine that from him.
Yeah, he was. He was
like,
in
I bet this guy, like, I like him a lot. He's a really nice guy, but I was like thinking to myself, I bet in the Marine Corps, I would have hated this dude.
Yeah, he probably, and most did.
Because I was like the easygoing team leader, like, all right, dudes, let's do it.
My peers were like, why do you talk to that guy? But there were certain levels and certain things that he connected with me, outside. I was older.
Yeah.
So he had a certain level of respect for me for being an old man, and then coming from Southern California and like kind of a little bit similar upbringings.
Yeah.
It really led me to like reach out as much as I can with with those that are close to me. And I saw like the incredible stuff that Merging Vets and Players has done with him. And during my tough times when I was going through some moments myself, I reached out to him. He was at a point in his transition where he was able to give me some advice and really help keep me moving. And so we found purpose in helping each other out and just being a resource for one another. And which is really rooted, though, what keeps me going every day with this fashion brand that I'm doing. We're getting, a lot of those 2-7 veterans following us, and we're getting their attention. And
That's cool.
And trying to inspire them to not think about suicide, but to really like find purpose again and do something that they've maybe didn't know they were passionate about, or just, an attention gainer, if you will.
Yeah.
And then they can utilize this my trajectory as inspiration, and, and then now we can point them over to organizations, or, if they're into the arts, we can point them that way. If they're not, just really help them find their passion again.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And I think they connect with me because I was there in the stumps with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, 29 stumps.
29 stumps. Yep. Good old Lake Bandini.
That's great. The only thing I think of when I think of 29 Palms is like a liquor store and like a tumbleweed going across. Because every time I stop like outside of there's that gas station with the liquor store right there. It's right off of 10.
Oh, yeah.
And you stop and you're just like, oh, yeah, I could see why this would be a problem.
Liquor stores, barbershops.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I got out of my car. I was like, dude, I am struggling mentally right now from just being outside of this place. Like,
I had no idea that place existed.
You didn't know?
No, when they
you lived in California your whole life and never knew it was there.
No.
Yeah.
No, at School of Infantry, they're like, oh, you're going over to 29 Palms. And I was like, where is that? I had no clue. I lived here my whole life. And then I'll never forget the bus ride over there. But yeah, I was like, where's the rest of it?
That's a good reaction for 29 Palms.
Yeah, where's the rest of it? And I found out where the rest of it sure was with 27. It was behind the mountains, and it's huge.
Yeah.
But there's not much civilization out there.
Yeah.
But looking back, I'm really honored and really glad I was able to be part of that organization.
Well, it's special, man. It was forging a fire, I believe, within you. You had that designer within, right? That guy who wanted to, keep up with the guys like Barbados and and all these incredible artists to have become integral to what is, modern well-dressed, what looks like good dress. Guys like that have impacted, and girls like that have impacted our community and our world through clothing. And that for them is their legacy. And you wanted a bit of that. You wanted a piece of the action, but that forging fire and that proving ground in a way was the Marine Corps, which is interesting, right? Because you don't think, well, I want to go be an infantry Marine so I can go to fashion school. I mean, that's not usually the thought, but
I mean, I asked my recruiter because they had that book of all military approved schools that you can use your GI Bill.
Yeah.
And then I saw the Fashion Institute on there. And so I asked the recruiter, I'm like, so you're telling me if I go Marine Corps infantry, I can go to this school in this book, right? And he's like, yeah. I said, even this fashion school? And he said, I don't know why you would do that, but it's in the book, isn't it?
Yes.
And
I was wondering, I was going to be like, what did this recruiter say to that?
And and so I said, at that point, I was like, all right. And I just checked one more time when I was over in Nashville. Same thing, Gunny Hamlin over there. I asked him, I was like, Gunny, the school that's in here, like I can go to any school in here, right? He said, yep, it's in the book, right? Yep. He said, they're all, they all take the GI Bill.
That's awesome.
And again, Gunny, so if I go with this MOS, I can go to this school. And he said the same thing. I don't know why you would do that, but yes, it's in there.
99.9% of Marines' reaction to you wanting to go to fashion school.
Which was like, just not typical, I guess.
No, it's not. But it's the strange thing because it makes a lot of sense. That attention to detail is so key. We saw it yesterday again, being in the factory, man. And I keep bringing this up, but it's because I was so blown away by the attention to detail, from the inseams to everything that you brought to the table with that attention to detail, to the small little red detail showing the blood stripe from the Marine Corps.
Even the IPs, man.
Even
Like,
that, yeah.
Yeah. Like we make sure it's like really clean, no threads hanging out. You know, my ears are still ringing from boot camp for me having one stupid string hanging out my uniform.
You know, and that's something I noticed on the inside of those seams is like, you know, when I, you know, and whatever, putting my jeans in the laundry or, you know, the few times that I do wash them, obviously, do not wash my denim very often.
Right.
But when I'm putting it in the wash, I notice when I pull it, I notice, you know, there's some frays, you know, even with some of the really good denim.
Right.
But with your stuff, it was so clean, dude. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a high dollar item. Like just looking at it, it feels important, you know?
It is. We put a lot of work into it.
Yeah,
And I figured, you know, we're a new brand and it's a highly competitive market.
Yeah.
So we like what's going to make us different.
And you're at ground zero for a lot of this stuff.
Hands down. I mean, we're at ground zero and entering this huge marketplace that's, you know, millions of dollars it takes to do what I'm attempting or what we're doing. And so
not attempting, you're doing it.
And so I was like, I better make sure my stuff is tight and clean and like control everything we can, like max out what we have within our disposal. Yeah, that's what I did. And it's been showing and resonating with those that know about it, that know fashion in that arena, which we're a fashion company, fashion first. So you don't see a whole lot of, you'll see the military background if you really dig in and look.
Right.
Like you'll see the red waistband, nod to our blood stripe, and you know, again, paying respect to all those who lost their lives while in service, and the little red bar tack. You know, you'll see it throughout the collection, but you know, I don't really do a whole lot of, I don't do camo.
It's not BDU'd out or multi-cammed out.
Yeah.
Or digicammed out.
Exactly.
Marine Corps, like MARPAT.
Like put EGA or put guns on anything or, you know.
That's how you sell, bro.
Well, that's how you sell to veterans, you know, and I've had my grunt style shirts, you know.
Yeah.
But,
we're not here to hate on grunt style, but
no.
they got their own thing going. It's really cool what they do. It's special. But you wanted to be known for being a designer first, primarily.
Right. Primarily.
Yeah. And then when people find out you're a Marine, like, cool, wow. And he's a Marine, like, that's awesome.
Yeah. They say I mean, obviously everyone gets surprised. Everyone meaning just civilian in the fashion world. There's very few veterans in there.
Yeah.
Most people don't really understand us or get us per se.
Yeah.
But they do understand fashion.
Right.
And when I was in fashion school, I did an advanced study in menswear. There was 7 designers in that program. And I was a top menswear designer. So
wow.
That was like voted by a panel of industry professionals. I mean, we had a co-founder of Hurley, Carl Kanai was there, this other gentleman, James Costa. I mean, it was stacked with industry professionals, and they judged it on the fashion portion of it.
Wow.
Then I did an advanced study in denim. So for a whole year, I just studied denim. Got to travel with the school, and then once again designed a collection. Showed at the Indigo Hotel in downtown LA, and was a top denim designer.
Wow. Only one level, Marine, elite. Let's do it at the best, or let's not do it at all, right?
If you ain't first, you're last.
That's the truth, man.
Yep. So I just go hard. I just treat it like a gun drill, honestly.
Yeah.
You know,
that tenacity too. I didn't think about that. There's an attention to detail there, right? With the design and just the blueprint of what you're doing, right? Putting these incredible pieces of fabric together, creating something beautiful and timeless, something that people want to wear, something that people won't be afraid to spend a little coin on, right?
Right. Well, the biggest thing that's driving the cost on our jeans is that it's made here in the United States.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a good point.
Sometimes I feel like I'm getting penalized for being here because people aren't buying my product because it's, in their eyes, is too expensive.
Yeah.
And we're being socially responsible. We're being made here. We're now working with the newest denim mill. So American denim is making a comeback. It gone away.
Yeah.
And with Vidalia Mills, so, you know, we live here in the U.S. It's more expensive. I mean, we pay above minimum wage. And a lot of times I just feel like I have felt that it has worked against us in the business sector.
Yeah.
I've met with some really large chains that had loved the designs, and they said if I had a lower price point and was made overseas, that they would purchase like for their whole chain, because they just love the design. It was really tempting, I could have been a millionaire already, but I just stuck to what I believed in.
Yeah.
I just feel that denim should be made here in the United States, and I believe in made in USA.
Part of that integrity.
It punched me in the face several times business wise. I've been struggling because people get scared on the price.
Yeah.
Most people, but those that know, it's a bargain.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm not like price gouging at all.
No.
And
I think if people saw that, not to cut you off, but I really just want to get across from my perspective, because it is like what I've seen in your stuff is incredible, because the detail, the work that you put into every stitch and everything that's pieced together. Some people may not get that, but eventually they will through education.
Right.
And maybe sometimes it won't be everybody's thing. It just won't. That's a natural part of the process that you accepted when you decided to make everything in this certain way, right? Like
correct.
High quality. They're gonna be a certain consumer base that just won't buy this, and we get that. But at the same time, I think a lot of it's also the educational piece, and then some people will spend that when they know why it is that they should buy that jean. Let me tell you, after looking at your stuff, I'm looking at it and I'm going, Diesel what?
Yep.
Yeah,
and I've been pretty fortunate to meet Adriano Goldschmied. One of the
incredible designer.
Incredible. A legend in the denim world, European denim world. I mean, our quality is like, it's up there.
Yeah.
It's way up there. And I spend most of my time educating people on denim, and mainly American denim.
Yeah.
Because it's such an iconic fabric, and the jean, Levi's, 1849 here in San Francisco, California. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
And then throughout our history, it's just been a piece of our culture on a lot of different levels. And then as I'm getting into the business, the most iconic mill in the United States, Cone Mills, White Oak plant, North Carolina, shuts down.
Wow.
They were open for over 100 years.
Jeez. Right as you get in, welcome.
I am like, put my whole collection, everything was sourced from, the denim was sourced from there. Iconic red line selvage, the stuff that Marlon Brando used to wear back in the 50s, and, just real heritage stuff. And then to see them, go down was gut wrenching. I toured the facility 3 months before they closed.
Wow.
As a student. So I felt really, really honored and blessed to be able to see it while it was still in operation. And then now, just recently, Vidalia Mills, they purchased those iconic looms that make the fabrics. I mean, those things were built in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and they turned them back on.
Wow.
And I was honored to be there when they were just getting them on, and they had told me they just hired their newest employee, and he was over 70 years old. So I
have to be 70 to know what those looms can do.
He's the only one that knew how to work on them. He worked at the mill his whole life.
Wow.
And so they hired him, and I was like, oh, I know what it feels like to be
the old
guy. So I connected with him.
Yeah. We're going to be besties.
Yeah, we're going to be besties, bro.
Yeah.
I got you. Don't worry.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, which is really cool. And now the jean that I designed for Barone was made from some of the first yardage of that iconic new surge of American denim, the comeback that it's coming. I really believe in it wholeheartedly.
Talk about that. Josue Barone, incredible guy. All of you listeners know him very well. He's been a part of the Veterans Project. Great guy. Came from a very hard background, joined the Marine Corps, and then gets blown up. He loses his leg, loses an eye. You had an opportunity to design a piece of art that could impact his life. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's the proudest moment of my design career, was doing that jean for him. I had met him at an event in Oceanside, Operation Jump 22, along with Merging Vets and Players. I was asked to come out and be a vendor there. So I was showing the collection there, but more importantly, I just wanted to be amongst my brothers and sisters in arms. And from there, I met Josue, and he really liked our jeans and the collection. He showed up, and he was wearing some really cool sunglasses. He always wears shorts because of his prosthetic. And then he had on a jacket that was, on trend. So right away, that caught my eye.
He's a well-dressed dude.
He's a well-dressed.
I recognize well-dressed dudes, and he's a well-dressed dude. And Debbie's part of the reason, but he's definitely a well-dressed
Well,
dude.
he did say that.
Yeah,
he gave that stipulation. He was like, my wife, helps me out. And, and I just like, it's well put together. And then he looked at the jeans and he said, man, I really, want to wear them, but I can't because of my prosthetic. He said, I don't even wear jeans. And I said, well, maybe there's something we can do, one Marine to the other. And then I saw him again over at Bastards during the Marine Corps birthday there in Downey. And by that time, I had already started working on some sketches. So it was only a week later.
Wow.
And then
a week later.
Yeah. And then from there, it was December, I had invited him to come over to the factory, to my office, and that way I could, really develop and see what we can do to help him out, get him in a pair of jeans. And so he came by, and mind you, during that time, it was a rough week. I have an Airstream trailer, so I had crashed it.
Nice.
I got evicted from my other warehouse. I had a warehouse, so I got my eviction notice to get out of there. And then my truck got repoed, so I kind of went through a rough patch.
Wow.
So I borrowed a car. I said, if anything, I'm going to stick to what I believe in. And like, if I'm going out, I'm going to do this jean for Barone if it's the last thing I do.
Wow.
And so I went down there, observed them. We went to lunch. And I just watched saw what his struggle was, and then develop a jean that would work for him, but not only work for him, that would be on trend, something that people without prosthetics would want to wear.
Yeah.
And that was a challenge. And there was no in between. Like, it was either going to be a hit or it was just going to be a hospital pant. There was no in between with this. And I was really nervous because the pressure, like, man, Barone's really, his story and what he's done just really inspires me, just as a human being. The pressure of having to make a jean, I didn't want to upset him, or fall short.
Right.
Or have another, disappointment. He shared that there's other brands that have tried to do things, but none of them came through. And so within 2 days, it took us 2 days. He came in on Tuesday. By Thursday, we had the jeans sewn up for him to try on.
Tenacious.
I treated it like a gun drill.
Yeah.
I told you, that's the last thing I'm gonna do.
Tenacious.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. And he came in, tried the jean on, and was just blown away. And I told him, I was like, hey, Barone, like, honestly, don't post anything, don't tell anybody. I'm just doing this because I'm an artist. I love doing this. And from one Marine to another, I said, I just wanted to help you out. You said you had a problem wearing jeans, so here you go.
Yeah. Something special.
Yeah, something special. And then on Christmas Eve, he was out to dinner with his family, and then he sends me a text, telling me how that jean, it gives me chills every time I talk about it, but how that jean changed his life, and made his life easier.
Wow.
Because he's now able to go to dinner without being embarrassed.
Yeah.
He has to release his leg every time he sits down. And the only way to do that is either he wears shorts, so he pulls his shorts all the way up. If he gets into pants, he has to pull his pants down. And that, already he has a challenge of just feeling normal in a crowd, like doesn't want to draw attention to himself. So this jean really allowed him to function without drawing a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And then he said he felt empowered, like they look good, It was like a slim taper. So it was on trend. And then I designed it to where it kind of looks like a motorcycle jean.
Yeah.
And I utilized that to hold, because I put 2 zippers on there, even though he has
I've seen them, they're beautiful.
Yeah, he has the prosthetic on the left leg. I put them on both as a design, element.
Smart.
Yep. And then, I mean, we've been getting a lot of response on social media on that jean. Great reviews, people that don't have prosthetics like wanting that jean. And then we showed it in Project in Las Vegas. Project is the largest fashion conventions. So, I mean, we're in there with, Calvin Klein, Tommy Jeans, Lucky Brand, Diesel.
Yeah.
7 for All Mankind, Trinidad3.
Yeah, is there like ever that moment where you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, one not like the other, for sure.
You're, and I say that in the most respectful manner possible, but you're young in the game in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You're also a Marine, you come from a different background, but it's actually, like I said, ironically enough, that same thing that makes you a good hard charger Marine, that makes your recruiters go, why the heck would you want to go to fashion school? It's ironically enough, those little items of attention to detail that have made you so good at what you do. In that moment where you as a combat Marine are able to help out another combat Marine, both infantry, right? Both 0311 Grunside, very proud tradition to be able to help a brother out. What's that like?
Like I tell people in the industry, if I don't sell another jean again, I'm good. Like, mission accomplished. Honestly, I feel fulfilled.
Yeah,
that jean, and then what we're able to do and inspire other vets, other veterans with prosthetics and challenges. Yeah, I'm solid.
But there will be more to come. You got guys like, like Tony Ferguson wearing your stuff, like, the man, like, about to fight Khabib, like wearing your stuff. You've got incredible, Dominic Cruz, Matt Beatty. Like, you've got some athletes. And people that do care about how they look, right? They care about that design. It's important to them. What? A UFC fighter that cares about how they look? What?
Exactly.
They do, man.
We're
They
trainable.
do.
Yeah, no, it's pretty important now. And then I had a great conversation with Randy Couture.
Yeah.
Who
awesome.
is also
Randy's a good dude.
Yeah, he's an amazing human being. I mean, I've always obviously been inspired by his career, and was honored to have him in our booth. And he was proudly wearing Trinidad3 Jeans.
That's awesome.
And he has his own company too, Extreme Couture. So and it was just great to have a conversation with him and to see what this brand has been really transcending and breaking barriers. But it all ties into what keeps us moving,
Right.
And the fact that, it's safe to say the majority of the United States support veterans.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're able to also back it with fashion and a high quality product really is carrying it, that much further, to where I don't ask these guys to wear the product. Most of them, purchase, so they all buy it and they wear it, and I don't ask them to post or do anything.
Yeah.
So we have NBA athletes, we have, a lot of athletes, UFC fighters, Bellator fighters, and they're just, they say it makes them feel, empowered. Yeah. That's what Tony told me. He said, I felt like a badass in that gear. And then, like, I had no idea.
When Tony Ferguson tells you something makes him feel like a badass, you've done right.
Right. And then
he's kind of a bad dude.
Yeah. And then to see him when he did the face off with the cowboy. Yeah. And he was like wearing our jacket, t-shirt, and jeans.
Wow.
Yeah, with his belt on his shoulder. I was like, holy like that. That's incredible. Like, I did not see that coming.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a special moment. Detail wise, like, this is not a cheap industry to be in. Let's just be, that was something we kind of hit on earlier. Talk about a little bit about Vegas and some of the things you're just forced to do just to get to that event, what you have to do to make a decision to attend something so vital and important to your industry, but really join the rich man's game, right?
Right.
Like,
well, I had to sell my 53 Ford F100. Yeah, that one. It really hurt.
Oh, that hurt.
It hurt.
Oh, but I didn't mean to laugh. It's more shock.
Yeah, I'm still recovering from that. I just said it and I'm like, I sold my truck.
53 Ford
Yeah,
F100
F100.
so that you could be in Vegas
so
for
I
that
can be
event.
in Vegas. And then I've
That's
been really
passion.
blessed. There's a gentleman, a lawyer that's been helping me financially to keep the dream alive. And on the day that they repoed my truck, my newer truck, yeah, he sent me the deposit for the show in Vegas. So I was able to lock in the space.
Wow.
And then had to hustle the rest. And even that was pretty incredible. I found out why he's been backing us. He's been seeing what we've been doing. And on 9/11/2001, he was in Tower 2 on 40th floor when the plane hit.
Wow.
So he's a 9/11 survivor. And I was just blown away and he shared it that day. And he's been supporting us for over a year, just I fall 4th and inches and he gets me the first down.
Wow.
He's just like, keep going. And then I'm thinking like the dream's over.
Yeah.
And then he gives me a call, and him and my good friend Caesar down in San Diego, they've been mentoring me along the way and just helping me get that first down. And just his story alone, once I found out his why and how it aligned with our why, it was just like incredible, because what happened to him directly affected like all of us.
Yes, all of us. Me too.
That's involved with this brand.
Yeah. All of us, the whole community.
So then back to your question, like what it took, it took negotiating with the factory owner, who's just been an incredible supporter. He's also been affected by war in his country, in El Salvador. So he came over here in the 80s, like running with his family.
Jeez.
They were getting shot at, and it was pretty incredible story. And he feels such a love for the United States that he's been just helping me out, mentoring me on the fashion side, and just brought me under his wing and helping us push forward, because it's very expensive to make these samples, and you're putting together a 25-piece collection. I mean, it's getting it made here, you're talking over $25K.
Jeez.
Just in development.
Wow.
And I mean, most of these brands spend 50 to 75 every season.
Yeah.
That's 1,000 on their samples.
Wow.
And then not to mention like the space over there. It's expensive.
$25K to see if you have a hitter.
Right, just to see what the season's going to do and take it to market. Yeah. So it's a steep hill, man. Like,
are you saying that you can't be afraid of risk to be in this industry?
what I'm saying is you have to be insane to know, which most of us, and that's the connection we have with veterans, and those odds. The odds are against you, and just not being afraid to go for it. And then sometimes like you'll get breaks along the way, but I've just rooted it and just really dug into, again, finding that purpose and sticking to that. During my biggest challenges, I stuck to what I believed in.
That's one of the hardest things, getting to that break, like, in those in-between moments. Like, I know what you're talking about, dude. Like, totally. Where I was just like, I don't know if I'll be under a bridge this month.
Yeah, hands down.
I don't know where I'm going to be. And that's even scarier with a wife and kids, like you have. Like, for me, it's just like, well, cool, I guess I can sleep under a bridge.
Yep.
But for you, that's not an option. Yeah. So it's like...
Well, explaining to the wife and kids that, Christmas this year is,
looking sparse.
Yeah. And then my daughter waking up at 3:30 in the morning, like, Dad, they're taking our truck. And that's rough.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to instill in them, like, you chase your dream and you don't give up.
Yeah.
You just don't, you find a way and you keep pushing through it, but really stick to what you believe in. And that's what I did. So when I was looking at the 53, I was looking at opportunity to go to market. It was as tough as it was. That was just a personal, emotion. The greater good is being able to, make this business a success and get into market so that I can continue to support and do things on the veteran side.
And if you're successful in this and that, in what you're doing, with that type of decision, which you kind of have to make in order to get into it and really be successful, that 53 Ford 100 not looking so tough to get back.
No, I'll buy it back.
Buy 10 more.
Yeah, I'll buy it back.
Find success, yeah, in what you're doing, and you're on that route. You're on that path.
Yeah, we're certainly on that path, and in doing so, I mean, look what happened. That Burr-owned jean was Best Showpiece 2020, so it got an award.
That's amazing.
An award-winning jean, which got us seen by major retailers.
Yeah.
I mean, man, we just met with a very, very major retailer based in Seattle. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, which is really exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what are your goals going forward? With this company, and what do you want to impress upon veterans who maybe, or anybody in the community who sees your jean and goes, man, but normally, here's the thing, man, I get my jeans for $50 down or 40 or probably cheaper than that,
Right.
30 or $40, man. Why should I get, yeah, I've got the money, but I want to spend it on other things. Why should I spend it on your jeans?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that question.
Yeah.
One of the most patriotic things that you can do is serve this country, right?
Right.
The military. And we believe, obviously, in the United States,
Right.
made in USA. It's safe to say we don't want to see that go away,
Yeah.
but it's going away. It's gone away.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the price of the jean, I mean, I just challenge every veteran, like, flip your labels, like, who are we supporting? Why?
Right.
In this day and age, I think with sustainability, transparency, and all these words that are getting kicked around.
And a lot of them purely just words,
Purely-
not actually action.
Exactly. Like, I really believe in doing things the right way. And if that's something that aligns with what your beliefs are,
Mm-hmm.
then this jean is certainly for you.
Yeah.
If it's not, if it's mainly price, then I just challenge you to take another look at it, because would you work for under minimum wage?
Yeah.
Would you work in substandard conditions? No, none of us would.
No. That's an interesting point, man, because I think about, like, outsourcing some of the stuff we outsource, right? And then I think back to what you're doing, and I watched your workers yesterday and that are working in the factory. Incredible people, incredible human beings who are doing incredible work. Without them, that attention to detail is not met, right? That hard work ethic, that's sweat equity. They're getting paid their just due for what they're doing.
Yeah.
Now, but when you're outsourcing, and it's coming out of your pocketbook.
Exactly. I know exactly what they're making.
Yeah. But when you outsource that, to another country, and you're saying, like, man, we have a problem. You know what? I have a real problem with below minimum wage. I have a real problem with people getting kicked and pushed around. And then, and the other argument of it, like, well, they wouldn't have jobs if they didn't have this. Yes, they would. They would find another job from another. And does that excuse us from paying that below minimum wage? Because in that country it's acceptable. And, like, and if you're really about helping people out, first of all, we got to help ourselves first.
Right.
We want to be able to help other places. And the sustainability factor of what you're doing it's much tougher, but you're creating jobs here for people here where they're getting paid their just due, and they're doing great work, and they're getting paid for that great work. That's a beautiful thing, right? So why not outsource?
Because I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
I believe that we can do things here, wholeheartedly, or else the easy thing to do is to outsource.
Right.
I could have had this brand in multiple outlets, multiple stores, and arguably been doing well. But even when I'm, hiring veterans, in our pop-ups, I'm paying them well above minimum wage. No other store in the industry, and these are veterans that go to fashion school. They're getting offered jobs or even part-time jobs, minimum wage at a store, this and that, and it's not right. I mean, these guys served our country and are entrusted to lead people into battle, and then they over here they're entrusted in this industry to file papers and work for minimum wage.
Yeah.
So it's just not overall. I just think the social responsibility portion of it is really important. And it's not, we're not asking for an astronomical price.
No. Yeah.
Yes, we're above importers. There's no way we can compete with something that's made overseas, hands down. What we pay in 1 hour is what a lot of them make in a day, 2 days, 3 days, some countries a whole week.
Wow.
Honestly. And so, talk about an unfair battlefield, if you will.
Yeah.
When it comes to price. But, most people don't know that.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, like I know it can be done. Is it uncomfortable? Yeah, it's going to cost a little bit more. It's uncomfortable for me, to have to find a way to make this product solely because it's what I believe in.
Yeah.
Especially with, me observing uniform comes off. It's like, I want to see American denim like strong and doing well. And I don't want to see Vidalia Mills go away, like the way White Oak Plant went away, because people want to save money on clothing.
Yeah.
And in lieu of that, what we're doing is just producing quality and doing it responsibly. So of course, we've all enjoyed the benefits of spending, less on a garment, but over time, I think we're actually spending more.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Like durability, the ability to keep something. I know I've had a few pairs of jeans that have lasted me 6 or 7 years, and those have been my favorite pairs of jeans because they just time and time again. First of all, I love the look. You have to love that, right? But also they hold up. And when something holds up, like I've seen your workmanship, and I go, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I could have that jean for 20 years. It may be out of style in 20 years, but like that particular cut or look.
Right.
But like that ability to like, have a pair of jeans and go, man, this is not going to break apart. Like this is not going to rip up. This is going to be here. I'm going to end up buying, 3 or 4 pairs of jeans in that time. You're actually saving in a lot of ways, but also you're getting a way better jean for that, and you're going to look like a stunner.
Yeah. And then you're contributing to, some social good. So, you get the feel good automatically.
Yeah.
Portion of it. Everybody wants to feel good. Like they're doing, giving back and things like that. We're here, it happens just automatically. I served, we have a whole team of veterans behind it.
Yeah.
On the face, you wouldn't, really know, but, the underlying crew behind it are veterans, and we're trying to do good. It's expensive to do things the right way.
It is. Yeah.
I just chose not to go the other route.
That's smart, man. Well, I'm thankful for you going for doing that. So, one last question I want to kind of get to, legacy, because we talk about legacy a lot within this
it's
piece.
A big word.
Yeah. We use that. That's kind of become our motto on this side of things. I share that with my presidents, both of them on the Caregiver Project side, and say all the time, our legacies are the mission. That's the mission. That's the entirety of what we do. If I'm not preserving these legacies in a proper manner, if I leave you with a piece where I hand it off to you and you go, yeah, man, that was good. And then you're like, yeah, it was kind of like a lot of articles. I'm like, nope, I messed up. I don't need to be doing this if that's the type of work I'm putting out. I'd rather not do it if that's the case. If I'm giving you substandard, So for me, I need to know, I kind of want to know, what do you want? How do you want people to remember you in your work and what you're doing? I ask this is not some morbid question. I know something you don't. This is like, this is a very important piece of the story, whether Bataan Death March veteran or Iraq, Afghanistan, served in the Marines, Vietnam, whatever, we want to know what your legacy is that you want to impart upon this world.
Yeah. I really want to be known for post-service legacy, the work that I've done outside of the uniform. I want to be known as an American designer that believed in the United States and being made in USA, being on the forefront of the resurgence of American denim.
That's cool.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
And I never really thought of myself as being someone of legacy capacity or material, because I always just root everything I'm doing on helping others. But now I'm going up against giants
Yeah.
And I know that through time, what we've done here should at minimal set a standard in this industry, in the fashion industry, of how things should be done.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can take a jean and impact someone's life. I'll take that any day.
Yeah. That's powerful,
There's
man.
not many designers that can say that.
No. Well, that diligence that I see within you and the attention to detail and everything that you took me through yesterday, obviously photography is a big part of this work.
Yes.
But my ability to guide, to see the various works that you put in on the art side is such a powerful visual representation of your time in the Corps. Because I see that workmanship come into a jean, come into denim, come into leather, doing all the things that you're doing, and that's powerful, man. So I want to thank you for doing it right, because I, as an artist, can look at a fellow artist in the eyes and be like, not full of and be like, I've had to be full of before,
Well,
had to kiss a little butt.
You've heard of fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
But we just,
if you don't have to. Yeah. But
it's real.
You know how it is. But when I look, can look you in the eyes and say thank you, because you are creating an incredible product, and you're more than that. You're creating something that can change lives, as seen in the model of Josue. So thank you so much, man.
Oh no, it's an honor. And this one fabric, lastly, denim. It can be a unifying fabric. We know the political climate we're in, without getting into either side. It's just great that there is something that we can all, agree upon and kind of come together as Americans.
Yeah.
And that is a jean.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what side of the fence you stand on. I guarantee you they're in a pair of jeans.
Yeah. I like that, man. You get a bunch of sayings that could be on t-shirts, man. Don't do that. Do the denim.
Yeah. No, I'm staying in my lane.
They've got plenty of t-shirts. Yeah. Anyways, but can you let people know where to go? And, we're going to put that in the description, but,
Sure.
where do they go to get your product, to get your legacy piece?
You can go to Trinidad3.com.
Okay.
We're on Instagram at Trinidad3 Jeans.
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool.
And coming soon to retailers near you.
I like the sound of it, man. Hey, we've already got one in San Antonio carrying, so I'm looking forward to traveling and seeing your stuff on the road and being like, I know that dude.
Yes,
and then texting you and you not answering.
No, that's
too cool for you, Tim.
No, man, I need that camera.
Yeah. I'll be around, bro. All right, man. Thank you so much. For those of you listening in, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. And lastly, don't forget, our legacies are the mission.
This has been the Veterans Project Podcast with our founder, Tim Kay. Check us out at www.thevetsproject.com, on Instagram at The Veterans Project, Facebook, The Veterans Project, and Twitter at Project_Veteran. Thanks for listening, and don't forget, our legacies are the mission.